Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Josh All Alone, your host today on the day following the wrap-up of the 2025 NFL Draft. And man, what a freaking weekend it was for the Browns and for us Browns fans. So what I'm going to do today is I just want to go through, recap what happened over the weekend, present you guys with each of the prospects the Browns selected this weekend during the draft, go through some prospect profile, scouting report stuff about each guy. I want to give and I can't do zero. It's impossible for me to do a podcast about the Browns and give zero opinions on anything, but I will do my best to give as few opinions on each pick and things like that as I can, because we are going to do a live show later this week, and that's where we will really hash it out, because Blake, Justin, me, we all have different opinions about things the Browns did this weekend. And if you followed along, if you were along for the ride during the draft with the Browns, you know what I'm talking about. So we will do that later this week. Make sure you guys tune into that episode, jump in the live chat, and make sure if you're on YouTube right now, first of all, please like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please tap that notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. We try to do a live every week if we can. And, I wish I could give you like the specific night right now that we were going to go live, but we've got young families and things and work and jobs that we're trying to line everything up. So when we go live, you will get notified and you can join us in the live chat. Before I go into the prospects, I do just want to thank everybody who tuned in to our NFL Draft live show on Thursday night. It was a ton of fun. We had over 1,500 concurrent viewers, and that is like insane to us. That's a huge record for our show. We've never had that many before. I mean, that's between all three platforms, X, Facebook, YouTube. Everybody, just thank you so much for blessing us with the opportunity to provide the Browns content for you and to keep doing this. It's a ton of fun. And if you want to help support the show, if you want to help, support our continuation of this podcast and the content that we're creating for Browns fans, head over to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. It's just $5 a month. You get in there, and like I said, that if you just want to support the show, that is a great way to do it. But also there are benefits to you. You can join the private Discord where you can hang out with our online Browns. Basically, it's our own Browns backers community. It's at jointhedogs.com in the Discord. It's our Dog Pack community. Awesome people. The opportunities like playing fantasy football with us, which, hey, we're going to be ramping that stuff up here in the coming months. It's crazy that we're already talking about it, but it's not that far away. And all kinds of other opportunities, contest giveaways. We just gave away the Browns jersey. I need to look and see who they wanted. I don't know if they want a Quinshon Judkins or maybe they want Shador Sanders, but we're going to give away, or we did give away, a jersey on draft night from a player selected in this draft. Speaking of which, let's dive into the prospects that became Cleveland Browns over the weekend. So the first thing that happened during the draft, well, it actually wasn't even during the draft. It was right before the draft. So in the hours leading up to the NFL draft kickoff on Thursday night, there was a trade announced. And the Browns were the only team involved in trades early in this draft. So Thursday afternoon, we get reports the Browns have made a trade with the Houston Texans. The Browns are trading their two of their sixth round picks, 179 and 216, and their seventh round pick, 255, over to the Texans. In return, the Browns are getting Houston's fifth round pick at 166 and their 2027 fifth round pick. So basically, we moved up in the draft 13 spots and gained an extra future fifth round pick. And then the NFL draft kicked off. Obviously, we know we had pick 2. There was all the hype and buzz. We had a report from inside the stadium on Thursday night that Journey was even hyping up the crowd at the concert up in Cleveland, saying, "Hey, who's ready for Travis Hunter?" Got everybody excited for the two-way star out of Colorado. And the Browns trade the pick. So the Browns traded pick 2 and pick 104 in the fourth round to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who selected Travis Hunter at the number 2 spot. In return, Cleveland got pick number 5, pick number 36, so another early second round pick 126, so they moved back a little bit in the 4th round, but they also got the Jaguars' first round pick next year in 2026. And with that 5th pick in the 1st round, the Cleveland Browns selected Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. So I'm just going to kind of go through each guy's profile, kind of the same way I did with the mock drafts. And we'll just kind of go from there. Again, tune in later this week for a much more opinionated show and conversation and dialogue between all 3 of us, me, Blake, and Justin. But Mason Graham, 6'3", 296, 21 years old. He's a former wrestler in high school. He actually claimed 2 heavyweight titles while he was in high school. He was the number 1 defensive tackle in terms of production score in NFL Draft Profile. His college career, 2022, he played in all 14 games at Michigan as a reserve. He had 27 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a pass breakup. 2023, he was a first-team All-Big Ten Conference Rose Bowl defensive MVP. He had 4 tackles and a TFL in that game. He started 13 games for the national champion Michigan Wolverines. You guys know me as a Buckeye fan. It is paining me to say these things, but as soon as you become a Cleveland Brown, all that college stuff gets wiped away, and you are now supported. And we're really excited to have Mason Graham. But anyway, so where was I? Started 13 games for the Champs, 36 tackles in 2023. 36 tackles, 7.5 tackle for loss, with 3 sacks, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. And then this past season, in 2024, he was first team Associated Press All-American, first team All-Big Ten. He was a finalist for the Bednarik Award, which is for the nation's top defender. He was a finalist for the Outland Trophy, which is the nation's top lineman, and that's both offensive and defensive lineman. So he was a finalist for that award too. He started 12 games. He had 45 tackles, 7 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, and a pass breakup. Now, I wanted to pull a little bit more information about Graham because he was our first round pick. He was a top 5 pick, and he was a top 5 prospect by pretty much every draft board you could look at this offseason. He was never a guy that we focused on this podcast. I never mocked him, never did a deep dive into him because we couldn't fathom the Browns going defense with pick 2 unless it was Abdul Carter was the only guy. But, early in the process, Blake was the one saying, hey, if they have to take a defensive player, if that's what they're set on, don't take Carter, take Mason Graham. He's the one who will help Myles Garrett and the defensive line much more than Abdul Carter with his presence in the interior of that defensive line. And lo and behold, Mr. Blake Reneker gets something right yet again. And then we got to hear about it forever, guys. So just bear with us. No, I'm just messing with Blake. So anyway, I just want to give the guys flowers. He did call this out pretty early on. But anyway, from Draft Buzz, Mason Graham fits the bill of an immediate impact starter who can anchor a defensive front while providing scheme versatility across multiple techniques. His combination of explosive power and technical refinement makes him an ideal fit for teams employing both one-gap and two-gap principles. What separates Graham from other defensive tackle prospects is his ability to dominate in multiple phases. He is equally adept at eating double teams in the run game as he is collapsing the pocket on passing downs. So we get a 3-down interior defensive tackle that we have been needing for years. The film shows a defender who brings more than just raw power to the table. Graham's wrestling background manifests in his sophisticated understanding of leverage and balance, allowing him to win battles that many similarly sized defenders would lose. His ability to maintain gap integrity while still generating penetration makes him a defensive coordinator's dream. While he may need some refinement in his pass rush technique, his natural gifts and work ethic suggest significant upside in this area. Pass rushing. The Browns got a freaking football player here. And, I think before I dive even further into Mason Graham or any of these other prospects, what did I say the whole way leading up to the draft and this entire process? What did I want more than anything? Like, yes, these guys with massive production. Yes, these guys with great athletic scores and all that stuff. That's wonderful. What did I want? Number one, get football players. Get guys who love the freaking game of football, live, breathe, eat, everything, bleed football. I want football players. Guys are going to come in, work their asses off to be even better football players. Mason Graham is just that. All right, moving on here. Graham profiles as a cornerstone defensive piece who can anchor a front seven for the next decade. His floor is remarkably high given his proven ability to dominate against elite competition, while his ceiling suggests all-pro potential if he can diversify his pass rush arsenal. Expect Graham to hear his name called within the first 10 picks of the draft, which it was. His combination of production, physical tools, and technical proficiency make him one of the safest prospects in this class. And he's not just a safe prospect, he is also a blue chip, like they said, cornerstone defensive piece potentially for the next decade. Very excited to get Mason Graham on this team. I think it's going to be fun. We jest with Michigan and all that kind of stuff because we're Ohio State fans, but sports is so cool because you look at the Cleveland Browns, and their first pick in the draft last year was a defensive tackle from Ohio State in Mike Hall Jr. This year, their first pick in the draft is a defensive tackle from Michigan. So now you get two just absolute rivals, two players at the same position from rival programs that are going to be lining up on the same defensive line right next to each other as professionals. So that will be cool to see Mike Hall and Mason Graham together in Cleveland. Okay, pick 2 then. The Browns didn't do anything the rest of Thursday night. We thought, there were reports and rumors the Browns were looking to trade back up into the back end of the first round. We thought it might be for a quarterback. There were reports the next day that they were trying to get up for an offensive tackle. Maybe it was Josh Simmons and all that kind of stuff. Nothing happened on Thursday night, so the Browns stick and pick at round 2. There were also reports all day on Friday that the Browns were looking to trade back out of 32. They didn't do that either. So they stick, they pick 32, the first pick to kick off Friday night, and they take Carson Schwezinger, the linebacker out of UCLA. So this is a guy, when this pick came in, it was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I said I wasn't going to give any opinions, but here we go. You got to be kidding me. We're going defense again to start this round. Like, come on, we need offensive playmakers and all this stuff. The Browns went and they made sure in the first round, they wanted to solidify their defensive interior, and they got the best defensive tackle in the draft. The Browns also wanted to solidify their linebacker position, and they went and got the best linebacker in the draft. So from that perspective, I can't fault them too much for these picks. While it wasn't my favorite pick because it's not the position I wanted, I totally understand it. So Schwezinger. Am I even saying that right? I don't know. But anyway, so he's 6'2", 245, 22 years old. All these guys they got, for the most part, very young and very high in college production. That's key. Schwezinger was, am I even saying that right? You guys help me out here. Schwezinger was number 1 production scorer among linebackers. If you remember, Mason Graham was number 1 production scorer among DTs. So his college career, 2021, he was a redshirt walk-on as a freshman. A walk-on. He didn't even get a scholarship. 2022, played in all 13 games as a reserve and on special teams. He had 15 tackles and a half a tackle for loss. He received a scholarship before that season. So they were impressed with him. He ended up getting a scholarship in 2022. 2023, played in all 13 games again as a reserve and on special teams. He had 12 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack. So he walks on. Next year, he gets a scholarship. The next 2 years, that year and the year after, he's kind of playing in the reserve role, special teams, not making a huge impact. 2024 comes around this past season, and look out. Carson Schwezinger, first team Associated Press All-American, first team All Big Ten Conference. Those are the same awards that Mason Graham won. Finalist for the Butkus Award, nation's top linebacker, led the FBS with 90 solo tackles. He ranked 3rd in the entire nation with 136 total tackles. He was a team captain. He played in all 12 games with 10 starts, 8.5 tackle for loss, 4 sacks, 2 picks, 3 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. NFL Draft Prospect Profile says Schwezinger went from walk-on to All-American at UCLA. He is a human bloodhound, pairing elite instincts with an understanding of blocking schemes and run tracks. The pursuit speed is average, but his play recognition helps him play fast. He's undersized and takes the worst of it when blockers can get on top of him, but he is a good athlete in coverage. He's also a sound technician as an open field tackler and bona fide standout on special teams. Schwesinger was a starter for only one season, but his instincts, athleticism, and competitiveness help him project as a future starter either inside or as a 4-3 will linebacker. The second pick for the Browns, where they went and they just got a freaking football player, a guy who he's going to fly across the field. He's going to be at the ball wherever it is. Watching some highlights of him over the weekend. I mean, he was the number one linebacker on most of the big boards. And, outside of Jihad Campbell from Alabama, who is a different type of linebacker by my understanding. But either way, Schwesinger was at the top of the boards, and the Browns scoop him up immediately on to kick off day 2. So very excited for the defense. I mean, if we're just kind of setting aside our emotions about not getting a wide receiver or, a quarterback, one of these top guys that we were hoping the Browns might do in the first round, top of the second, dial back a little bit. Look what we just did for our defense. It's going to be pretty lethal, and it's going to be fun to watch these young guys contribute and just see how things go this year. Hey, Browns fans, we just want to remind you guys, go check out the Living for We podcast. Living for We, keep your head up, addresses the troubles of gun violence and offers solutions for those who want to better their community. You'll hear from Amir and Drew, 2 black men who picked up a gun as kids because they felt they had no other choice. Andre Taylor, a community leader stepping into schools to break the cycle. Walter Patton, founder of Ghetto Therapy, bringing mental health support straight into the neighborhood. These are real stories, real struggles, and real solutions. Living for We is an award-winning podcast from Idea Stream Public Media, part of the Connecting the Dots Between Race and Health initiative. This season, host Maureen Harris-Taylor and her new co-host Maisha Watkins, executive director of the Cleveland Peacemakers, bring you stories from the front lines, victims, survivors, and those fighting for change. New episodes drop every Tuesday, and they started last month on February 11th. Listen to Living for We wherever you get your podcast, or watch the video version on IdeaStream's YouTube channel. Learn more at ideastream.com/podcast/living-for-we. So we stay locked in, tuned in here at the beginning of round 2 because the Browns pick again in just a couple spots at 36. And they take, at pick 36, the one that they got from the Jaguars in the trade for Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, the running back out of Ohio State. And we say, finally, offense. We need it. We need a running back. We have got to revamp this backfield and get things going. And what do the Browns do? They go and get the guy that I highlighted so much. I mocked him to the Browns. I picked him as one of my top 3 guys from the top 30 visits episode that I did with Kenny Mack. I love me some Quinshon Judkins. And I know I'm an Ohio State homer. I get that. But he's still one of the best running backs in this entire draft class. And the Browns took him. If I'm going to get excited for the Michigan guy at pick 5, I'm damn well getting excited for the Buckeye here at pick 36. So Quinshon Judkins, 6 foot, 220 pounds, just 21 years old. He's a young guy, and he's got a lot of football left, but he was so ultra productive in college. He was the number 2 among all running backs at the combine in athleticism score. Now here we go, his college career. Kicked things off in 2022. His first 2 seasons were at Ole Miss. He was a freshman All-American, first team All-SEC, SEC Freshman of the Year, SEC All-Freshman Team, finalist for the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award. This was as a freshman. He's, 18, 19 years old, and he's already one of the top running backs in the biggest conference in college football. Ranked 7th in the FBS with 1,567 rushing yards, on 274 carries, had 5.7 per attempt, and he tied for 10th with 16 rushing touchdowns, which both were school records. He played in all 13 games with starts in the final 6 contests. He had 15 for 132 and a touchdown receiving on the year. He won the Connerly Trophy for the best player in Mississippi. 2023, again, at Ole Miss. First team All-SEC. Led team with 1,158 rushing yards. Just got something in my eye. 271 carries, 4.3 per carry, so his average came down this year. 15 rushing touchdowns, though, so still solid. He's got a nose for the end zone. Started all 13 games. He had 22 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving. Then transfers to Ohio State in 2024 and was third team All Big Ten Conference. He led the team with 1,060 rushing yards on 194 carries, back up to 5.5 per carry. 14 rushing touchdowns played in all 16 games, 7 starts, which whatever, as a running back, you're either in on that first play or you're not, for the national champion Buckeyes, and had 22 catches for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving. His profile says Judkins is a productive runner, possessing good size and great contact aggression. His running style is both urgent and a bit chaotic. He runs with good burst inside, but is more collision-based than wiggle-oriented when maneuvering through the lane. He's efficient on runs outside the tackle box, but he has a tough time outracing pursuit to create explosive runs. He is wired and built for a heavier carry count and short yardage success, but the disparity in yards per carry between Judkins and TreVeyon Henderson, despite running behind the same line, is a little telling. Judkins might need to be paired with a slasher, but he has the ingredients needed to become a 3-down RB1. Spoiler alert, the Browns must have read this profile because they did pair him with a slasher here in just a few picks. But we get Quinshon Judkins, who I definitely believe can be that workhorse, heavy volume type of running back. He does have the 4.4, what did he run? 4.48, something like that speed at the combine. So he does have the long speed. His athletic testing, like I said, number 2 among running backs this year, off the charts. And we were kind of torn between, do we want the Browns to take Judkins or TreVeyon Henderson? I mean, the Browns opted to go with, and I think it was the right move. You get you take a running back built for a 3-down workload on the higher end of this draft class. There are these types of running backs later on, but this is the higher end where you can get Judkins to fill that role. The type of role that TreVeyon Henderson presents, wow, it's great, and he's very lethal. The more limited touch guy who can hit the home run. There were more of those guys later, in my opinion. So I think that's probably the Browns' mindset in going Judkins over Henderson. But that's just my opinion. Either way, pumped to have him. Cannot wait to see this backfield now in 2025. So then, pick 3 a little bit later in the evening, round 3, pick 67. The Browns take another guy that I highlighted in the top 30 prospect visit episode with Kenny Mack, another guy that I have been mocking consistently to the Browns, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green. Again, I do not need to talk too extensively about him because I already have on a ton of episodes, but to reiterate, 6'3", 240 pounds, he's just 20 years old. He was the best receiver in college football last year in terms of production, and he played tight end. He didn't even play receiver. He had 150 targets, first in the nation, 117 receptions, first in the nation. And 1,555 yards, first in the nation, and 10 touchdowns. And this was only his 3rd season ever playing tight end. He played safety when he was in high school. He was a very good defensive back, but they switched him to tight end in college because that's what the coaches asked him to do. He had his massive performances against, good competition, Penn State, Texas A&M, Arkansas State in the Ventures Bowl. He had 17 catches for 213 yards in the Ventures Bowl against Arkansas State. He had 11 for 137 and a touchdown in the first half. And like I said, he did all of this production at just 20 years old with just 3 years of experience playing the position. So this guy, I'm so excited to have him. I think he's going to be a very legitimate weapon for the offense. Again, the athletic testing, not off the charts, nothing crazy. The size, nothing crazy, smaller, undersized tight end. Doesn't matter. The dude just plays football. The dude just produces. You get the ball to him, he's going to make things happen. One of my favorite stats from last year, 873 yards after the catch in 2024. That was the most in college football among all players, tight ends and receivers. There was nobody else even over 750 yards after the catch, and this guy had almost 900. 3.77 yards per route run. You guys know the 2.5 is my threshold, so he's way over that. Just 4 drops on 150 targets. Apparently his nickname is Vacuum Hands because he catches everything. He had 123.8 passer rating when he was targeted. He's the weapon the Browns need. We do not have a slot receiver currently, not anyone that I rely upon anyway. So I think that he can kind of fill a big slot role, alleviate some of the pressure off David Njoku, help David Njoku get back more in line to blocking because I think they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these. The Browns took 2 really good offensive players that I really wanted on this team. So I'm very happy with Quinshon Judkins at 36. And then the follow-up with Harold Fannin Jr. at 67. And then things got late on Friday night. By the time we wrapped up the live show on Thursday night, I've got almost an hour and a half drive back to my house from the studio. I didn't get to bed till after 2 a.m. I got up with the baby a little after 6, so I maybe had 4 hours of sleep on Thursday night. And then Friday, it's about 11 o'clock at night. I'm just dragging ass. And I'm like, hey, I'm just going to stay up. I'm going to see what the Browns do at 94 so I can, post about it and everything. Then I can go to bed. Well, what the Browns did at 94 was such a wrench into anything that I thought they were going to do, so out of left field, that I was up for like another 2 or 3 hours after that because I just couldn't sleep. My mind was like, what are we doing here? And the pick in round 3, at the end of round 3, 94, was Dillon Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon. And like I said, this one had me and pretty much everybody on social media, probably you guys watching, saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? And at the time, and again, it was late Saturday night, so I was obviously about half asleep before this happened, but Jalen Milroe went to the Seahawks just 2 picks before the Browns were on the clock. So when the pick came through and it was Dillon Gabriel, it really felt like they were just maybe kind of making a panic pick because maybe they thought Milroe was just going to fall to them at 94, and then as soon as he got taken right before them, the Seahawks might have sniped him. And so the Browns just quickly pivoted and said, well, we had 94 earmarked for a quarterback, so we're just going to take the next one on our board, and it's Gabriel. Boom, they took him. And it was just really strange because it felt like Dillon Gabriel, they were never linked to him in the pre-draft process at any point that I could remember. I don't remember talking about him other than him being at the Senior Bowl. And there were so many other players on the board that we needed in positions of need. There was Alec Ayamanor and Jalen Royals, 2 wide receivers that I thought, well, man, one of these guys would be great here at 94. I can't believe they're even still available. There was a guy like Xavier Watts at the safety position. Like, we need a freaking safety bad. So I was kind of hoping we were going to take a player like that. There were some, I forget who it was. There were some linemen on the board still. Whatever the case may be, I was like, let's continue to revamp this offense and beef things up. We did stick with offense, but we took Dillon Gabriel. And then, like I said, I was up confused, just trying to figure out what was that all about? And then the next morning, Saturday morning, Mary Kay Cabot wrote an article with some more information that came out from the Browns. It was either in the morning yesterday or late Friday night, talking about the Dillon Gabriel pick, and things started to make a little more sense. And I'll go into that here in a second, but first let's go through his profile. So Dillon Gabriel, on the shorter side, smaller side for a quarterback, 5'11", 205 pounds, 24 years old. His college career. So first of all, in high school, he broke Tua Tagovailoa's Hawaii State high school record for the most career passing yards. In 2019, he started off at UCF. He started 12 contests. 12 contests. I shouldn't even copy and paste this. He started 12 games. Anyway, he had a 59.3% completion percentage, 3,653 yards, 29 touchdowns to just 7 picks. And he also had 78 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns on the ground. He was the Gasparilla Bowl Most Valuable Player, where he had 260 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and a rushing touchdown. And then in 2020, again, at UCF, he was a second-team All-American Athletic Conference, ranked 5th in the FBS with 3,570 pass yards. He had the second most total offensive yards per game at 373.9, and he started all 10 games in 2020. So just his second year playing, and he had the second most offensive yards per game in the entire country. Not bad. 2021, again at UCF, started the first 3 games, had 114 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks, and he had 125 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns on the ground before he suffered a broken left clavicle, and he missed the rest of the season. So 2022 transfers to Oklahoma, and he gets named Big 12 Offensive Newcomer of the Year. Started 12 games. He had 3,168 yards on a 62.7% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, and he had 315 yards on the ground with 6 rushing touchdowns. 2023, again at Oklahoma, first team All Big 12, ranked tied for 8th with 30 passing touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. He had the 9th best completion percentage in the nation at 69.3, 3,660 passing yards, led the team with 12 rushing touchdowns. So he led Oklahoma in 2023 in rushing touchdowns. He had 373 yards on the ground. He then entered the transfer portal after the regular season and went to Oregon for 2024. In 2024, Dillon Gabriel, third-team Associated Press All-American, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, Quarterback of the Year, first-team All-Big Ten. He was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy Award. He finished third in Heisman voting. Ranked second in the FBS with 72.9% completion percentage. Guess who he was behind? It was just Shador Sanders was the first, and the next best in completion percentage, Dillon Gabriel. He had the 7th most passing yards in the nation with 3,857, and he was tied for 8th in the nation with 30 passing touchdowns. Again, just 6 interceptions. And if you're following along, he has never had more than, 6, 7, 8 interceptions in a season, something like that. He's never thrown double-digit picks. He set the FBS record with 188 career total touchdowns, 63 career starts at quarterback, which is now the new record. He beat Bo Nix's 61 games started at quarterback. He tied Case Keenum's FBS record with 155 career passing touchdowns. He started all 14 games in 2024. He also had 149 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. So that was a lot. I need to take a little drink here, I think, after reading all of his accolades and everything that he accomplished throughout college. There's no denying however you feel about Dillon Gabriel and the pick at 94 for the Browns. They got a guy who was ultra productive in college. One of the best quarterbacks, honestly, in college football. And he is now on the Cleveland Browns. So Draft Profile says Gabriel is an older and smaller quarterback prospect, but he offers a tremendous amount of game experience. Again, 63 starts in college and productivity. I mean, he's got the most touchdowns and stuff like in college football history. He operates with poise and confidence from the pocket. His field vision is average, but he typically takes care of the football. He's capable of playing within the confines of an offense and can create yards with his legs as needed. Gabriel's accuracy and timing is accurate on shorter throws, but the placement becomes a bit erratic when pushed outside of his comfortable range. He might require a ball control passing game to help manage his lack of arm talent and keep him from throwing into closing windows. He's an effective scrambler who is able to elude pressure and make plays outside of the pocket. Gabriel requires a very specific offensive fit, but he's a gamer with enough good tape to have a chance to become a decent backup. Okay. So what I found out then yesterday morning, after I woke up still barely confused about the pick, found out that the Browns did have Dillon Gabriel into Berea for a top 30 visit. And it was actually on the very first day that top 30 visits even opened up this preseason or this offseason. And he came in along with Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. And then the day before Colorado's Pro Day, the Browns top brass, Jimmy Haslam, Kevin, AB, all those guys flew to Oregon and actually held a private workout with Dillon Gabriel, and they took him to dinner. So this was news to me and everybody else because this workout and the meeting with Dillon Gabriel in Oregon was kept completely under wraps until after he was picked. Pretty insane. So we knew about all the other workouts, Milroe, Dart, Cam Ward. We knew that they had Tyler Shuck in for a top 30 visit. We knew that they had Shador in for a top 30 visit. They went to Shador's Pro Day. They went to Dart's Pro Day, all this stuff. Did not know about these private meetings with Dillon Gabriel. And then we find out, this isn't news, but it was reiterated. Bubba Ventrone and D-line coach Judkins for the Browns both got firsthand experience with Gabriel at the Senior Bowl. Cesare was the defensive coordinator on Dillon Gabriel's team, and Ventrone coached against him. So by all accounts, and if you read between all the lines, Dillon Gabriel was the Browns quarterback in this draft. He was the guy that they wanted. And this was the area, the range in the draft where they had pretty much planned to take him. And I we're going to talk all about this. I mean, I think this will probably dominate the conversation later this week with Blake and Justin. The Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel conundrum. But this just seems like the Browns guy. And if you watch the video, and I'll post it on all our socials at the Dogs Podcast, go check it out. The video call from the Browns to Dylan Gabriel had a much different tone and much different sentiments than the one between the Browns and Shador Sanders. So go watch both of those, and you guys drop in the comments. Let me know what you think about that and what you guys think in general about the Browns taking Dylan Gabriel at 94. This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Do you guys love smash burgers? The crispy caramelized sear and the bold beefy flavor of Omaha Steaks smash burgers are to die for. I got the new smash burgers from Omaha Steaks, and holy crap, guys, these things are delicious. They're thinner patties, so I grill up 2 of them, slap on 2 pieces of cheese, and make myself the best double stack burger ever. Forget the mess of making smash burgers yourself. Get 16 free burgers in the Built for the Grill pack at omahasteaks.com/smash. They're pre-smashed, so you can enjoy smash burgers at home. No griddle or cast iron pan required, and they won't fall apart on the grill when you flip them. These burgers are made from 100% premium aged Omaha Steaks beef for exceptional quality and flavor. Omaha Steaks smash burgers go from freezer to bun in just 5 minutes. So get ready to smash expectations with new Omaha Steaks smash burgers. Visit omahasteaks.com/smash and order the Built for the Grill pack with 16 free smash burgers. That is 16 free Omaha Steaks smash burgers at omahasteaks.com/smash. See site for details. So the next day opens up, and the Browns are on the clock at 126 in the 4th round. And here we go. We get the slasher to pair with Quinshaw Judkins. We take Dylan Sampson, the running back out of Tennessee. Now, this is the pick again that we got. We moved back, like 20 spots from 104, 22 spots from 104 to 126 with the Jaguars. So we get Dylan Sampson, which personally, I think this was huge value for the Browns at 126 in the draft for this running back, because he was very highly regarded amongst all draft circles, I think, in the running back department. But he's 5'8", 200 pounds, so a smaller back, 20 years old. So another very young prospect. And what you like to see are these really, really young prospects who have just immense college production already under their belt. Like they broke out at an early age. They dominated at an early age. They are football players, good ones. Dylan Sampson in 2022, he played, did I even say running back out of Tennessee? I don't remember. I'm getting so ahead of myself. This one had me excited. It really did. 2022, played in 10 games as a reserve. He had 58 carries, 397 yards, 6.8 per carry with 6 touchdowns. And then he caught 3 passes for 24 yards. Not a huge year in 2022. And then in 2023, he tied for the team lead with 7 rushing touchdowns. He had 106 carries, 604 yards, 5.7 a carry. He played in 12 games. He had 17 catches for 175 yards and a touchdown receiving. And then in 2024, he just exploded. 3rd team Associated Press All-American SEC Offensive Player of the Year. 1st team All-SEC running back, all-purpose. Tied for 4th in the FBS with a school record 22 rushing touchdowns. That record, by the way, was 95 years old. He ranked 8th with 132 points scored, 9th with 1,491 rushing yards on 258 carries, putting him at 5.8 yards per carry. He started in all 13 games and had 20 receptions for 143 yards. Didn't catch any touchdowns, but that's okay because, like I said again, school record 22 rushing touchdowns. We just added a 22 rushing touchdown running back and a 14. What was it? Well, last year was 14, and then the year before was 15. The year before that was 16 for Quinshaw Judkins. So we got 2 running backs who know how to get into the end zone. Dylan Sampson, compact back with good instincts and run after contact ability that propelled him to stardom. In his lone season as the starter at Tennessee, Sampson separates himself from other backs in the class with an impressive feel for timing, spacing, and blocking scheme. He sees lane development in real time and is disciplined to stay on the design track. but he can flip a switch and improvise when traffic mounts. He can wiggle around tacklers or break free from their grasp. Ball security and pass protection improvement will be early priorities for his next coaching staff. But Sampson plays with the instincts of a seasoned veteran and has the talent to build on what he started in 2024. NFL Draft Profile had a second or third round grade on Dylan Sampson. We get him in the 4th round. They comped him to Brian Westbrook. Huge value for the Browns here. Dylan Sampson, this is what they were talking about in the profile. 929 yards after contact. That was the 5th most in college football last year. 929 yards after he got hit for the first, the first hit. Insane. That's what you love to see. 3.6 yards after contact per attempt. That was the 12th most in college football. So again, you're looking at a guy who he can give you big plays, big numbers on lower volume. This is what we wanted out of Travion Henderson, but we got the same sort of capabilities in the 4th round rather than the 2nd. We got the high efficiency thumper with speed. I think that's probably why the Browns took Judkins where they did. He's a 3-down skill set, a bruiser with speed. So he was worth the pick early, and they still get their guy like this in Dylan Sampson in the 4th round. He forced 70 missed tackles last year. That was the 4th most in college football. He had 38 runs of 10 or more yards, and he had 107.5 elusive rating. Dylan Sampson's going to be a ton of fun. The Browns just got a brand new 1-2 punch in the backfield with Judkins and Sampson, and man, I cannot wait to watch it. We will talk later this week with Blake and Justin about what this might mean for the futures of Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford. But man, I could not be more thrilled with the Browns double dipping at running back. And these are the 2 prospects they came away with. Okay, who's ready for pick 144? Here it is. This is what you guys came to the show for, I would imagine, today. So the Browns didn't pick again until, what pick did we even? Oh, I guess I got it here. So we had pick 166 in the 5th round. So we're kind of waiting around after 126. It's like, okay, we got to 166. I'm doing laundry and dishes and stuff, whatever I can do while the kid's sleeping yesterday. And then all of a sudden I look up at the TV. The Browns are on the clock. What the? 144. The Browns have made a trade. They're trading pick 166 in the 5th and 192 in the 6th to the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for pick 144. And it's like, I'm going through best available on my phone. Like, who are we trading up for here? Is there a receiver out there that we're like, we got to go up and get him, or a defensive player? And it turns out the Browns traded up to get the guy that a lot of people, the entire pre-draft process, wanted the Browns to draft at number 2 in the 1st round. And instead of taking him at number 2 in the 1st round, or at 33, or at 36, or at 67, or at 94, the Browns take Shador Sanders at pick 144. Quarterback out of Colorado, and just sets into motion what is about to be the most controversial, debated summer mini camp, preseason, training camp, whatever you want to say. The next 4-5 months are going to be insane for Cleveland Browns fans, Cleveland Browns media, and just the Browns in general. But it's going to be a ton of fun. So we get Shador Sanders, 6'2", 215, 23 years old. His production score among quarterbacks was number 1. So we get the number 1 production score defensive tackle, number 1 production score linebacker, number 1 production score quarterback, number 2 athleticism score running back, and I'm sure Dylan Gabriel had to be top 5 production score at quarterback as well. And Dylan Sampson obviously had an awesome season at Tennessee. So the Browns nailed it in the production department. So let's just kind of go through. I'm going to try not to do too much opinion stuff here. I just want to talk breakdown of Shador Sanders based on the scouting reports, and then we will do opinions and stuff later this week, like I said. But in high school, Shador Sanders was a 4-star recruit, top 100 overall prospect nationally. He passed for 12,627 yards, 166 touchdowns in high school. His team won national championship his senior year when he had 3,700 yards and 43 touchdowns. He initially committed to play at Florida Atlantic over SEC offers, but he ended up going to Jackson State after his dad, Deion Sanders, was named the head coach. So 2021 at Jackson State, he won the Jerry Rice Award as the top freshman in the FCS. Second team All SWAC, Conference Freshman of the Year, started all 13 games. He had a 65.9% completion rate, 3,231 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He also added 3 rushing touchdowns in that first year at Jackson State. So he started things off very productive. 2022 at Jackson State, Southwestern Athletic Conference Player of the Year, first team All SWAC, finalist for the Walter Payton Award, top player in the FCS. HBCU first team All-American, set the school record for 40 passing touchdowns. He had a 70.5 completion percentage, 3,752 yards, 40 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions, and he had 6 touchdowns on the ground. Okay. In 2023, Deion Sanders, we kind of know the story, gets named head coach of Colorado, so he transfers to Colorado with his dad. 2023, honorable mention, all Pac-12 conference. He ranked 8th in the FBS with a 69.3% completion rate. He had 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions in 2023. He had 4 rushing touchdowns to go with it. He did miss the finale of the season with a fractured back. Honestly, that's a note I don't even remember ever hearing about. I didn't even know he had that injury. 2024, though, this past season, comes back at Colorado and gets named second team Associated Press All-American. Notice the theme here. We drafted, all of our guys were like All-Americans. And they were like all Big Ten, all SEC. They were in their conference. They were like the top guys. Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, first team All Big 12, finalist for the Davey O'Brien Award, which goes to the nation's top quarterback. He set the Colorado school record. So this is 2 school records now. 64 career passing touchdowns. He led the FBS by completing a school record 74% of his 477 passes. He ranked second with 353 completions and a school record 37 passing touchdowns in a single season to just 10 interceptions last year. He, fourth most school record, 4,134 passing yards, and he had 4 rushing touchdowns to go with all that last year in 2024. So why is a guy like that sitting around in the 5th round? That's the question. That is the question that people we're asking all weekend, and they're going to be asking probably until this kid steps on the field and we get to evaluate whether he's actually good in the NFL or not. Until then, it's all going to be speculation, hypotheticals, hearsay. I heard this, I heard that. Todd McShay said that in Shador's interview with the Giants, did not go well. They threw like an audible basically into the conversation. I think they were probably talking like plays and things like that, or walking through some things during the private meeting that they had with him. And he clearly was not prepared for it. He hadn't, it was something they must have sent him ahead of time, and they expected him to study and understand what this was going to be. He didn't. He wasn't prepared. And Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, called him out on it. And apparently Shador did not like being called out on it. And Daboll did not like Shador not liking being called out on it. So from Todd McShay, who is a very trusted source, the Giants were rubbed the wrong way by Shador Sanders. He said 2 other teams in the top 10, 2 other quarterback needy teams, now whoever those were, both said that he was the worst interview they'd ever had, that he came across arrogant, and that he gave off the impression that he did not really care what teams thought of him. So there's all types of reasons why he could have been falling all the way to the 5th round, but we will speculate and give some more opinions on that later this week. But let's go through his NFL draft profile. Again, he was projected as a 1st-round talent based on the profile. And any perceptions, this is from NFL, the actual NFL profile, Any perceptions that Sanders is just a product of Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter's greatness are slowly dispelled once you hit the tape. He has seen mixed results under an intensely bright spotlight, but there are no signs his confidence has ever wavered. Sanders possesses a baseline of poise, savvy, and accuracy, traits that are integral in becoming an NFL starter. He's slow twitch with standard arm talent and a longer release, but he worked around those limitations with anticipation and his accuracy. He plays with decent command from the pocket and finds his rhythm when working on time and on platform. That said, he will pass on profits and look for the big play too often. Average velocity and slower rip times mean tighter windows against faster athletes. So throwing off platform or trying to do more than his arm talent allows will be ill-advised. He's tough and willing to take the hit to complete the throw once he's locked into his target. Sanders is pocket mobile and finds clean alternate launch points, but he often creates pressure and sacks with undisciplined pocket drops. Big thing I saw on tape with him, he drifts back way too much. The tape says he has the necessary qualities to become a solid game manager if he can operate with better discipline and play to his strengths. So what are those strengths? Plays with confidence and composure from the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield as the pocket compresses, shows off the ability to pump and reset when the play appears not to develop as he expected. He's able to buy himself time and move his launch point when needed. He's willing to stand in and take punishment when he gets locked in on the throw. He gets his hips squared to the target on rollout throws. He steps into drive throws between the hashes and puts it on frame, allows routes to develop and throws with timing into zone windows, hits receivers in stride and leads them into yards after the catch. Hey, we just got a great guy in yards after the catch in Harold Fannin Jr. He's consistently accurate when he throws from a balanced platform. What are his weaknesses? Spacing and clearly defined route combinations make decision-making easier. Drops beyond proper pocket depth and into edge rusher's path. Yes, he does. Throws with a longer operation time, has completions on tape that will be interceptions in the pros. We talked about that. Justin's brought that up. There are some highlight plays that should be at least incompletions, if not picks, but somehow Travis Hunter comes down with the catch. So that is definitely true. Inconsistent bringing his lower half through his delivery. Needs to become okay with taking profits and moving on. Take what the defense is giving you. If they're giving you a check down or a short play over the middle, take it. He always tries to look for the home run ball down the field, and that's where he gets in trouble with taking way too many sacks, most sacks in college football. He appears too confident in his off-platform game despite a lack of zip. Doesn't offer up much escapability quickness from the pocket, and he's much too willing to take a big sack instead of just throwing it away. So I wanted to get another perspective. So what does Draft Buzz scouting report say? They say that Shador Sanders projects as a high-ceiling prospect who could develop into a franchise cornerstone with the proper coaching and proper protection. His precision in the short and intermediate game coupled with advanced processing skills provides an NFL-ready foundation to build upon. While his Alamo Bowl performance exposed areas for growth, particularly against complex defensive schemes, Sanders' body of work suggests a quarterback ready for NFL challenges. His ideal fit would be in a timing-based offense that emphasizes quick decisions while providing adequate protection to maximize his accuracy and decision-making strengths. In the right system, with proper development time, Sanders has legitimate franchise quarterback potential. His combination of accuracy, leadership, and proven ability to elevate his game in crucial moments creates an intriguing package for QB-needing teams early in the first round. And the Browns get him at pick 144 in the 5th. So that wraps up the Browns 2025 NFL draft class. No more picks after Shador Sanders. They traded all those late 6th round and 7th round picks, which good. I didn't really want to go through all those anyhow. The Browns spent the rest of the afternoon, finalizing their priority UDFA list and going after guys, which we did sign a handful of UDFAs, and there's probably a couple more to come. And we will talk about those at a later date. But today I just want to focus solely on the actual draft class, the 7 new players that the Browns brought into the Cleveland Browns organization. Just as a recap through it, pick 5 in the first round, Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. Pick 33 in the second round, Carson Schwezinger, linebacker out of UCLA. Pick 36, just a few after that in round 2, Quinn Judkins, running back from Ohio State. And then in round 3, pick 67, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end from Bowling Green. At the end of round 3, pick 94, the question mark pick for most Browns fans, Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon. And then in round 4, pick 126, Dylan Sampson, running back from Tennessee. And to cap it off, the trade up to pick 144 in the 5th round, Shador Sanders, quarterback from Colorado. So in the comments, I want to know what you guys think. What grade would you give the Browns draft class this year? The list I just read to you, everything we just went through, the profiles, all that stuff. What grade do you give the Browns draft? And before you give the grade, let me point out what a lot of people already have pointed out on social media. We've said it as well. Going into the NFL draft, if we had told you that the Browns are going to come out of the draft with Shador Sanders, Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Carson Schwezinger, and we're also going to take another quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, and we get the Jaguars 2026 first-round pick. How would you feel about that draft if I laid it out to you that way? Because all the speculation was Shador Sanders, if you want him, you're probably going to take him at 2. Maybe you're going to have to trade back up into the end of the first round to get him. So you come out with him, and then with another top 5 prospect in Mason Graham, and then one of the top running backs, actually 2 of the top 5 ranked running backs in the draft, like one of the either the first or second ranked linebacker, a good backup quarterback prospect, and a future first. We'll give you our opinions later this week, but you can already tell, I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it was too bad of a haul. Did it create some freaking controversy and some crap we're going to be talking about for months? Yeah, buddy, it sure did. But that makes our job fun, and it makes it a lot more fun to do this content for you guys because you're the best audience in the world. We appreciate you guys so much. Again, thank you so much for tuning in on Thursday night. The live draft was off the hook the whole night. You guys hung out with us for 4.5 hours of live stream. It was nuts, but it was so much fun. And I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode. Let me know all your thoughts on the Browns draft class. And again, we will be with you guys live later this week on YouTube, Facebook, and X, breaking down just all of our opinions. We're going to have a roundtable discussion about this draft class, what the Browns did, and what things look like moving forward. So until I see you guys in the next one, let's go Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DOGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DOGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DOGS.